Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. A little bit of later report, but had some very good talk. Just finished it right now. It's pretty much midnight in here. What are we talking about today? I was talking to you about yesterday about this internal conflicts that the test is going to come in. So we're going to fill in the test. Venus entering Taurus, right? But she has a square with Pluto, right? You don't see the values in there. It's like, okay, spirituality is spirituality, but I have to put foot on the table, right? A lot of this energy is coming in and triggers, and particularly that Venus is trining the south node. Now we're gonna see like you may gonna feel something from the past, something like shame, guilt of things that you couldn't do in the past. Why you looking at again in the past, and so on. This energy is gonna be some very interesting in the next few days. Right here, because the moon it's only at 2 degrees Taurus. She just begin, really to understand what is values and so on, and you may gonna find like a little bit distracted in a way from this transformation. It's kind of like the transformation is not something that you're going to feel, either though that the sun and the moon they're going to be in the full oppositions. Pluto is going to take in some charge of these transitions. Okay. A lot of other things is going to be happening today. There is going to be some lots of triggers, particularly about 1 o'clock. We're going to see this energy at 1 o'clock. Some highly interesting moments is going to be really happening, because this is going to be some very interesting yacht that is going to be mated from the north node and Venus towards the moon, right? The moon, it's pretty much is you're gonna feel it, the moon, right? You've seen it, the moon, she's almost like a 95% full, right? You're gonna see it like, oh my God, this full moon is gonna be interesting. It is interesting. It's got a lot of going on. And this is the first full moon of the year, right? This is a new astrology year. We have some Neptune and Saturn at the beginning of opening in there, and lack of divisions and lack of authority, lack of structure in there is going to be looking to who? The authority. So we're going to see some through the day, particularly at 1 o'clock. What is your authority is going to be? Making your mind into it between those heavy, in a way, but needed energies. So what is it the day is going to start? We know that the moon, if you're following from yesterday's report, we know that the moon is going to be divine energies with Venus. She's going to be at the 1st degrees of Libra. That is going to be also a trining with Uranus and trining with Pluto, right? Things have to be changed, because if nothing changed, this thing is not going to work. And you're going to have some challenges with what? This relationship doesn't work if it doesn't change something. But who has to change? You have to change. And we're going to see some with that yacht, because the yacht is about 150 degrees. So here on the top is the moon. Okay, here it's Venus, and here it's the north node. But the solution, the resolutions for this is going to be the sun, Saturn, and Neptune. You don't have the authority, you don't have the structure, you don't have the visions. Here it's how the train track comes in there. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Right? So you're going to feel these energies, and at the same time, we are going to see some, as I was talking about in the previous report, the sun is moving more and more forward towards squaring Jupiter. You are going to feel like this thing is not going to grow. That thing is not going to grow. But you're telling yourself it's not going to grow. Because the only time you grow when you put to a what? Hard moments, hard situations. I mean, right now we don't need to have to, but is the worldwide hard situations, right? We see some all the stagnancy. We see some all about survival, money, right? And Venus, guess what? Venus feels like, oh my God, things has not been changed. there is not been transformations. I have to change. Okay, you have to change your understandings about love and values. And this is why Venus is 150 degrees with the moon, because she's going to be like, look at it, there is no divine balance. But how are you going to make a balance, right? What is your purpose to get into this balance? And we're going to see some later on the day in there, as I said, 1 o'clock. Okay, pay attention to that 1 o'clock. So this is pretty much going to be the energies of in the morning. The inner work is still at 8 degrees of Capricorn, square is the moon, square is Saturn, Neptune, and the sun. Lots of going on between the work, who I am, and what is my relationship. The usual cardinal changes that needs to be done in there. But the North Node is going to be looking more to Mercury and Mars. It's like the job has to be done no matter what, right? It's not hard to walk in the path. The hardest thing will be creating the path. You to be the part of the creator, because you are created in what? In it's not the divine, into the universe image, as you are from within. So this is going to be some challenging in all kind of like levels, but it's going to be for good. It's going to be for good. You're going to feel the good at 8 o'clock. Saturn is going to be very close to Uranus. Changes is needed, sudden changes, downloads. A lot of good information is going to be start working with this. Of course, the opposition with the Saturn, you're going to be like, I don't see the visions. I don't see a structure. And I don't see this authority that is going to be coming in with about these situations of who the person is and what is going to be the values in the relationship. This is going to be a lot of challenges about relationships, because this is what me and what I have with the relationship. If you haven't watched the yesterday's report, I highly suggest you to watch it. 9 o'clock, the ascendant is going to be at Gemini. That is going to be opposing Lilith and squares Mercury. As you see it, you're probably reading stuff, reading informations, and it's kind of like a foggy. It's kind of like a talking about something, but it's kind of like a halfway. It's got a lot of misunderstandings. It's a lot of this. I was just talking about with some very special friend of mine from California, and we talked about this. And he's like, yeah, I mean, it's funky, whatever you're reading, it's like halfway, but it doesn't give you a full picture. It's like a little bit, but it also creates confusion. And you're going to feel this, because Neptune is what? Confusion, right? You came into this earth as a baby, like you're looking at the round and you're like, what am I see it? I was in a spiritual world. What is this? What is these people? They're looking at me, right? And that's what is the confusion. The confusion is as you the first time you open your eyes and start really to see this. All right, well, 10 o'clock, the inner work is going to be at Aquarius. The ascendant is going to be at Gemini. As the moon, it's going to be at Libra. A lot of these energies you're going to feel. You're going to feel some vibrations. You're going to feel these energies like, okay, I can feel them, but I cannot what? Pinpoint it. They're like the wind, right? The wind can come from north-south, from the northeast, and goes to northwest, right? And you've seen it, how this wind from during early morning, right? It starts coming from the north toward the south, going towards the sea. If you're living in Spain, for example, but you're going to be seeing it later on, how this energy, it's coming back, right? So is this going to be the same thing? This is going to what's happening between the moon and Saturn and the sun. And you feel this energy, but you cannot pinpoint it from where the wind is going to be blowing in the next second. All right. So we're going to be talking about more 11 o'clock. The inner work is going to be with the North Node. And now we're beginning to have these energies, as I saying, at this particular yacht. Right here, this is going to be the challenges pretty much, because, you gotta be ignited from what you're going to do in the future to empower your emotions into the relationships, and then you have to go ahead and what, put the love in there, right? So now the love, it's lightening up the intuition to tell you that you have to go and achieving what you have to achieve into what, into the spirituality. And with this conflict right here, as we were talking about, the highest thing, I'm going to be showing you again pretty much this chart in a little bit. We're going to see some this cardinal need to challenge, because the ascendant right now is at Cancer. That is going to be square the moon. That is going to be a squaring the sun. If you have anything in that proximity of, we're talking about the first. Like in the first degrees, like from the fourth into the 10th degree of Cancer, until till the 17 degrees of Cancer in there, you're going to feel very, very much this energies that it's going to be a come. But it's the same time that the energy, it is 150 degrees challenging your shadow. So with these shadows and Mars that it's squaring Lilith, still you still like, I'm not sure, I don't know, I feel a little bit within the duality. I see things, but I don't know if that's the truth or if it's not. I don't know if it's the fear, if that's the guilt, that's the shame. I don't know what is what anymore. Okay? So stay into tune to your own self, okay? Because the things are about to be what? Discovered. All right, 12 o'clock, the inner work is going to be with Mars. Mars is looking to the Jupiter, is like, you have to grow. I have to grow. Otherwise, if I don't grow, if I'm not putting the things, this is like thinking about it, like if you are Michael Jordan, for example, okay? They asked Michael Jordan, how did you succeed? And he asked, like, people looking at how many shots that I put in, but they never ask how much in training did I missed. I had to practice it so many thousands of shots a day so I can be the greatest when I go out in the court and play with the team. And you're going to feel the same thing. Now you're going to be trying and trying and trying and trying, but when the time comes in to be performing, which is Mars is going to be entering Aries, 10, you're going to be seeing it. So thinking about it right now, you're in that training, okay? You're in that training of actions. All right, well, this is a 1 o'clock energy, as I was talking about you guys. So the ascendant is going to be at Leo. That is going to be opposing Pluto. Pluto is squaring Venus, and Venus is squaring the ascendant. You're going to feel like, oh, I don't got the love. I don't know how I'm going to survive. I don't think it's the right thing. And you're going to be digging to where? To your emotions, right? But currently the emotions is kind of like too many emotions at the same time, right? The moon is looking first for Lilith, then is looking at through Pluto, then she has to solve the conflicts with Neptune, Saturn, the inner work, and the sun particularly. And then the moon is also looking towards the north node, is looking at towards Venus, is looking to the sudden changes that it's got coming in, and also it's looking at like, what the heck I have to do with this authority. You gotta practice it, that the moon was here, right? You have to practice it, that new authority that you develop, but now you're facing what? The authority that you have from within your own self, by yourself. So a lot of this energy is going to be calling for you to really stay true to yourself, okay? And there's going to be some triggers within the relationship, because the moon is where? Moon is in Libra, right? And these changes is going to come in more and more, and there's going to be some really pressures on that. All right, 2 o'clock, things are changing. The inner work is going to be very close to Venus, probably about 2:15, 2:30, we're going to feel that energies of sadness, energies of like no values, no way how I'm going to succeed, and so on, because of that lack of the transformations. But the bigger the problem, the bigger the miracle. And that's how you need to look. because in order you to become from ordinary to the extraordinary, you have to become the miracle. But there is no miracle without problem. So when you see it this within yourself, that energy is going to be some challenging, but when you overcome it, you're going to be like what, indestructible, right? You be going to become this person who was broken, put its pieces together, and cannot be broken anymore because he understand, right? He broke because of his own self. All right. Well, good things is gonna be start coming up because things are always in the shadow, right? The inner work is gonna be at Taurus. The ascendant is gonna be still at Leo. This energy is gonna be some very, very beautiful. It's gonna come out because you're gonna be what? When you sitting yourself within the shadow, within the darkness, and you are asking, how can I get myself out of here? And all of a sudden there is this light bulb, and then all of a sudden you get the energy. It's like, okay, I know what is going. I know what I need to do. I know what I have to get in it done. All I have to do is get to work. And this is going to be some very powerful because for some of the people, okay, this is going to be some self-healing work. All right, 4 o'clock. Ascendant is at Virgo. That is a connections with the South Node. Again, this divine energies of Neptune, Saturn with Pluto comes in. It's pushing. Very hard times for Virgos, Pisces particularly in there. And now, since the Moon, it is at 6 degrees. And it's beginning to really coming out of the like, okay, I didn't have the vision, I don't have the structure. I have to face the authority within myself. What I am going to do, right? But this is a what? This is a oppositions of what you know as authority and what you feel as an emotions. And what you do feel as an emotions, don't connect it that much into a relationship, but the relationship's gonna be showing you things about yourself. Okay, it's gonna show you, and that is the power of this full moon. All right, 5 o'clock. You all know it by now that this 5 o'clock is duality, duality, duality. I'm tired of talking about this Virgo, Gemini, Sag, and Pisces. I mean, it is what it is. But since this is going to coming up a full moon, now this is adding into the pressure. You're going to feel like, you're squeezed. Yeah, and certain things, like it or not, you have to do it. And you're going to feel this duality is like, who the crap out of me to get myself into this mess? All right. You're going to be looking into this kind of like of energy, but overall the intuition is going to be like, no, 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 this is the right way. Don't talk negative about yourself, okay? You did the right things. You did the right things. Guess what? You're not going to have problems with this one, are you? All right, 6 o'clock. The ascendant is going to be still at Virgo. The inner work is still going to be at Gemini. That is going to be a opposition and a square towards Mars. Here's where a Mars is like, OMG. I mean, I'm looking at positive and negative, positive and negative. I don't know how to act and react. Okay, that energy is going to be actually into the psyche, into the divine warrior within yourself. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're Hercules or you're Xena, you have the divine warrior within yourself. Okay? Even for those who's been love to watch Charmed, right? But with that energies, as we are going to see it, this Mars, very, very careful because this energies is going to be really trying to have this war between your mind and your soul. What do you feel like it? Okay? And that can trigger some very unpleasant things, particularly when you have a war within the spirit. All right, 7 o'clock. Ascendant is going to be with the moon opposing Saturn, Neptune, the sun, and squaring Jupiter. And right now, you have two choices. Either you're going to look to the destiny and talking about of what you're going to do, and how you're going to do it, and what do you need to do in order to do it, or the things is going to be some highly pressurized, and that's going to push you to another energies, which is this is going to be from the ascendant towards Lilith and from Lilith towards the sun, or the energy from the moon, your intuition to transformations, and going into create a different structure. Okay, so here's how is it going on. It's a very tricky energy, but if you look at it, this is the incoming energy. Of course, you are facing that all the visions, the sun, and you see that there is no growth within the inner work. That it's a cancer of the family, and then leads to that intuition. And if you're going around and around and around, all of a sudden it's going to be like, I need to change something. So what are you going to change, right? You're going to be looking at towards the North Node, right? But the North Node is going to say like, you need to grow with this path within the family, and you're going to be talking about what you're going to do with this destiny, right? And then we're going to see some that the moon is going to be going to Lilith, look into your shadow, and that energy is going into the sun. At the same time, though, the moon has another path to a deep transformations, and it's going again back here. So this is going to be some a lots of mind games within you, but feel everything, because that the more you feel, the more information you will have. And that's what I said. The bigger the problem, the bigger the miracle. There is no miracle if there is no problem. The only person who can make a miracle is you. All right, 8 o'clock, that energy is going to be calmed down a little bit. It's still going to be existing, but it's not going to be that much heavier. Of course, the moon, it's moving at 8 degrees. The sun is at 12. And now this emotions is going to be start processing within the soul, because the energy of the moon, it's moving into the 12th house. The sun is moving into the 6th house, which is this is going to be like, let me heal these wounds, let me work on this, let me getting into this. And this is where a lot of the people is going to be adapt, as I said, when you are in the darkness, and so on. Where is it, the light bulb, right? Where is it, the light? And we're going to see the light as you are focused on what? Something totally new, creative. But that is not that new. You're just taking a new approach to what you need to create, right? Change the way, but never the plan. All right. 9 o'clock, the energy is going to be coming very more stable emotions. You're going to feel, of course, you have to overcome over the hump, right? In there, because the journey is like this. You go up and then you go down and go up and then you go down, but overall it's like a performance of the market. All right. Yeah, market is down for those in there, because you see, Venus doesn't have aspects in Taurus, right? The market, the financial market, the finances is also in Taurus, right? Things are stagnant, right? All right, 9 o'clock, ascendant is at Libra. That is pointing to the divine energies towards Uranus. You're going to be looking up to the sky, right? I was talking about before, when you're walking in there in your life, you end up in this, there is no sign, there is no nothing, but you end up in this street that it's closed. And you're trying to go back, and it's like, no, you cannot go back. And you're like, okay, I can go back. I can go forward. The only way I need to do is where? Up, right? And this is where that energies of up is going to be presented as Uranus. Uranus is still in where? In Taurus. It's like the key is there. All I have to do is grab it. So it's kind of like a Hagrid that it goes into diagonal alley, pointing out the bricks, and the bricks beginning is opens it up, and you're going in there. For some people, this is gonna be your exit, right? You're gonna be feeling it from within your own self, and you're gonna see some those interesting energies as the inner work at Leo and the moon that is set at Libra. It's going to be having a divine energies towards the node, right? All right, 10 o'clock, the inner work still in Leo, divine energies with Mars. Yes, the authority is going to be like, put this divine warrior going through it, right? Gonna be able, gonna have to, what? Push it forward, even when you don't feel like it. And that's how, what? The strength is built. You know, it's easy to do things when you're okay, you're pumped up, fired up, super excited, right? But when the things are tough, uncomfortable, painful, do you want to do it? Right? And this is about the moments that you have to put that spirit into practice. Okay? All right. 11 o'clock. The past is going to call you. The question is, are you going to answer, or are you just going to be, nah, I don't want to repeat the same things from the past. And here is where the authority has to what? Put itself within. Because the moon and the sun, they are going to be talking only through what? Through Lilith. Unspoken things, shadow things, playing games, and he trying to do things, and so on, which is that's what Lilith is, right? And all the sudden things is going to rise up. They're going to be triggered, right? Don't point the shadow towards other people. Look the shadow from within. Okay? And that's what it was, the astrogravitational report. And I will give you 7 o'clock in the morning, even though at 3 o'clock we're going to have some full moon, exactly 3 o'clock in the morning. So it could be intense energies with this. But at 7 o'clock in the morning, we're still going to be having the effects of the full moon that is opposing the sun and T-squaring the inner work and Jupiter. You're going to feel like, I don't want to work, I don't want to talk, I don't want to feel, I don't want to grow. And hear how the karmic situations is going to be a start coming in, because this is a cardinal cross. Talking about a cardinal process changes, but it's going to be require a lot of divine talk, because the moon is going to be 150 degrees with who? With Mercury. Okay, the divine is going to comes in. It says like you need to talk, and since that energy are still going to be active from the moon towards Lilith, we are going to be seeing it this communications about through the shadow, right? Here it's the moon, that is sextile with Lilith, and then we're seeing it, she's talking to who? The sun, right? Right? But we're going to be talking more about this tomorrow, mañana. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching, the clicks, the likes, the shares, the subscribes. And come back tomorrow for another astrogravitational report. Much love to you guys.